All right. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Audie. I am your host, Audie. So this is day 3 of 12 days with Audie. So we about to hit up March, and let's jump right into the month that was. So yes, if you haven't been around yet, if you've been living in some cave, if you've been out of space, I think you probably heard the news that March was the month that the pandemic that is COVID-19 hit us all, and our lives would change for whatever. I don't know. I want to say good or bad, but all our lives was changed. So COVID, the first case happened in South Florida, which is where I was, sometime in the middle of March or the beginning of March. I can't remember, but it's been a long year. So when the news came, and then everybody was starting to freak out in terms of what they were gonna be doing. My entire thing was that this vaccine, this little child's play. We've been living with the flu for such a long time. It's like this is just another virus that wants to co-inhabit our body and try to coexist with us so that they can actually function to their best ability. That's what a virus needs. It needs a host. And, just trying to find the best person with the strongest immune system for it to survive. That's what's my thinking. Unfortunately, as usual, I could be wrong. I don't care if I'm wrong. But if you ask me a question, if I have some kind of knowledge on it, I'm going to tell you what I think about it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I don't want to be right. But eventually, I'm going to learn something at the end of the day. This is what I tend to do. So yes, when everybody was running to the stores and freaking out and buying all the damn toilet tissue, you know what I was doing? I was home relaxing, like people freaking, they're doing too much. They're doing too much. Everybody and the crowd euphoria in terms of what everybody was saying about the virus, and I guess pretty much the world was going to crap. So we just wanted to buy up all the toilet tissue so that we could clean it up. I was like, okay, y'all clean it up crap. I just gonna sit there and just relax and just let things be. So I was wrong. So we all, once the toilet tissues was pretty much gone, we all needed some form of way for us to kind of, still be able to defecate and be able to clean ourselves when we did it. But unfortunately, those people that actually went ahead and, used up all those toilet tissues, like you needed all of that for that particular period of time. It's like the world wasn't coming to the end. How is it that toilet tissue is going to save the world if the world came to the end? Please explain to me. If you haven't answered that question or some kind of conspiracy theory to that particular thing, please answer it for me, because I still don't understand it today. Why were we in the store buying up all the toilet tissue? I could understand hand sanitizers. Yeah, I could understand that. And the cleaning products. But toilet tissue? Come on, guys. So that was, the beginning part of it. So in addition to the fact that, COVID-19 came in, we were all in lockdown. And I would say when we went into lockdown, I was in Miami at first, and eventually I went to Melbourne. And the entire aspect of just being with the people within a particular house became the norm for all of us. So we had to get used to those particular people. For myself, I went and it was a wonderful time for me to just reflect. I think we all learned to kind of self-reflect during the virus, because there was no sports, there was hardly any distraction, and content producers during that time was pretty much in high demand in terms of them keeping us entertained. Netflix, oh my gosh, we all binge watch Netflix. I think some of us went into the pandemic very fit and looking a certain way. We came out, I sure most of us had some bare bellies, and we tried to stay home and work out. I usually do home workouts, but I wasn't into the whole fab about the home workout because I already did it. So I still was able to kind of still go for my evening walks, which I came to enjoy before the pandemic. Do my morning work regimen, which is to do a little bit of exercise and still eat the same breakfast every single day. And so I became more of a robot, if you want to say it like that. I became more of a robot in terms of my habits, which I usually try to stick to as much as possible. And in addition to that, seeing I didn't read much in January, March was a time for me to just sit down and use books as my means of coping with what was going on. I found reading one of the key things for me during the month of March. I think March was the month that I read the most books. I think I probably ended up reading about 4 to 6 books or so in March. And that was, for me personally, that's a lot. So for me, that's a lot. For some people, it'd be ridiculously amount of books that I read in March. But for some people who've been avid readers for such a long time, be like, that's child's play. I probably read a book a day. But for me personally, I just started getting into the whole enjoyment of reading. And since I've come to enjoy learning how to learn, and so I just was picking up certain topics or certain ideas that I felt as though I wanted to kind of read on and catch up on it. So reading was my coping. I still, every so often, I would still go to the beach. And even though most public places were closed, I was still able to go and on Melbourne Beach on some days and kind of just sit on the beach and just listen to the waves and kind of relax and calm down and just be without all the distraction and the noise that is what we have on a daily basis. The sounding of the waves was pretty common. Just getting adjusted to my habits and what it is I did on a daily basis. That was my best way of coping with what was going on. And I know we all found different ways of coping during that particular time. Whether or not we just watched TV, whether we played games among our families, if we had those particular access to those things, whether we did arts and crafts, planting in the garden, those particular things, we all found different ways of coping. But I think in terms of what I ended off 2019 with in terms of reading, I just went back in terms of something I already knew, which was reading books. And that was my best way of coping with it. And then finding a routine on a daily basis that I can have some form of control within this chaotic event. And that was, that was pretty much it. And of course, a lot of people, I would say, they lost their job. We started working from home as well. I started working from home. And for those people who work in the service industry, most of them lost their job. And we kind of saw that, once most countries went into lockdown and the borders were closed, the stock market began to crash. And with the crash in the stock market, everybody and their all their financial goals in terms of retirement and what they had put aside, we started to see those funds disappear. And everybody started freaking out, which is pretty much what this entire month was all about. I think the theme of March was freaking out. If you don't understand what freaking out means, it just means that you are losing your crap. That's all freaking out means. We all were losing our crap, and so in every industry and whatever sector you worked in, we all had some form of crap losing. So technology kind of became the way in which we got things done. So other than technology, everything else was just pretty much in the red. And so yeah, we lost a lot. A lot of people lost a lot of money in the stock market. A lot of people lost a lot of loved ones in the early stages. But that was just the beginning of what we came to understand as our current situation and what we had to live in, which is being isolated inside our home and working from home, as well as living with this virus. And how is it that we're going to be able to kind of coexist with this virus so that we can still be as best as possible. So we started seeing people being more human beings, being more human, and companies reaching out and doing certain things that they wouldn't necessarily do in a regular circumstances, and helping families and individuals be able to still function within the realms of what was happening during that time. And I was very appreciative of what happened. And I think we all, in terms of what these companies did, it was beneficial for us. Some landlords decided to kind of, give us some rent forgiveness so that we don't necessarily have to hurt our head in terms of rent. Congress went into that particular things. I'm speaking in regard from the U.S. I don't know what any other country did, but those were some of the things that, went into place during the COVID in March. And so that was, pretty much me. I think the coping aspect of it and, freaking out and trying to find some control within all of this chaos was one of the key things I think anybody in terms of that time tried to do in order for them to still be able to keep themselves grounded, because we know that this was something that we had no control over. So therefore, myself, I try to find a way so that I can maintain some control and do what was best for me. And with that said, if you are enjoying it, that's the end of the episode. Continue to support. This is day 3. Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's like, it sounded good when you first start off, but it's like, oh my gosh, this is like one every day. This is a lot of work. But it's something I enjoy doing. And I've come to enjoy it. And now it's like I'm trying to find a new way to still find fulfillment and still doing what it is that I enjoy doing. So with that said, peace, love, and enjoyment. Deuces, I'm outie. Until the next one, see you guys. Stay tuned for day 4.